Woo.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Black Horror Humor. I am your host Leah. We are on episode 2 of Them. This is our recap of episodes 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, depending on how much into the weeds we get into the episodes. But I am your host Leah. I am joined by our host Baylor, BTG for President, Baylor the Great, and Drake or Mr. D713. We watched them in its entirety. It was created by Little Martin and produced by Lena Waithe on Amazon Prime. If you haven't already, go back and check out our first episode, which was one of our first bonus episodes that talked about episodes 1, 2, and 3 of them. In this episode, I am ready to get into it. Episode 4, where we started off. um, Baylor, do you recall episode 4?
No.
Okay, I was like, I don't want to
But
call on you and then you don't
yeah,
remember
no,
because I feel like you don't.
I don't recall, and I knew I was gonna have an issue with this is because when I did watch, I watched it in like 2 days. So
Okay.
I so it was like a movie to me.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
and the only episodes that actually stand out, which is the first episode, obviously episode 3, and then 9 and 10 stand out.
Okay. Episode 3, and we didn't talk about this part at the end of episode 3 for the first one. Was at the end of episode 3, she's coming home from her husband's side of the family, and she's on the bus, and she saw this man, and because of her reaction to this man grabbing her and dragging her, the bus driver said that he was going to call the peoples to come and get her because she was acting wild or whatever, reacting to her situation being taken by this man and telling her that she needs to act crazy. But we'll get more into him as the series progresses. um
Which is a
the
very important character, by the way.
Huh?
I said, which is a very important character, by the way.
Yeah, because I think he has his hand in a lot of the issues that the family experiences.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Um, Episode 4 was that day 5 or day 6?
Day 6. Would you like to start with seeing a clip of it?
Yes.
Um,
They look like the Nightmare on Elm Street kids. What are these children standing outside?
the hate runs deep.
His pants are so high.
Well, we're not going to school?
Were you playing the radio, Daddy?
No. Of course we're going to school. Spicy Jean's birthday.
Ready? Still finish the sentence so that I
Some folks are what?
Fools.
That's right. So we're leaving, and we're not paying fools or foolishness any mind, right? Walk straight to the car.
Mind your teacher.
Welcome back to them.
So one person we didn't talk about in the first episode, which because there was a lot of stuff to cover, but one of the people that we did not talk about was Betty.
Right.
Betty is the neighbor across the street. She's a woman who is
Jazz Betty.
attempting to get her husband Clark to take a more firm action against the family because they are depreciating their value and making it uncomfortable for the whites to live in peace.
Mhm.
Um, we know Betty's. They're currently known as Karens. Um, what did you think about her character in the series?
It could be hard for her to live down this road. She did a great job. She did a great job acting. Okay. Like, I hated her. All right. I absolutely hated her because it was realistic. Um, I think we touched on it, I think in some of these episodes, from if we're especially if we're covering seven, hurt people, but she just baby girl just lost in the sauce, and she doesn't have a life of her own, if that makes sense.
Mm.
And she's making sure to make time to make these people life horrible.
Mhm.
Like, and that's what Karen's all about. That Betty's just going out of your way to make people uncomfortable and unhappy for whatever reason, because you're unhappy with your life. And I think it may have been, I might have to keep playing if this is the episode, but I know it's one episode that I think we have soon. The mama
Oh yeah.
slap, slap the shit out of Betty, and it felt good. Felt good. But as far as the actress role, man, I think we talked about it before. When someone play a racist role and they do such a good job, it's like kind of typecasted to that now, buddy. And that's how I feel with this person. It's gonna be hard for me to see her in a different role because I'm be consistently thinking about how well you did in this one.
Right. Well, I mean, the one thing that about it is that on paper it seems like she has everything, but in reality, behind closed doors, uh, she has a terrible life that she covers up, like you said, by being in control of. She's in control of her marriage. You know what I mean? And her husband, who has like an even keel. You know what I'm saying? A very nonchalant attitude. Even though he can be an asshole. Um, is looked at as probably a leader when it comes to that neighborhood. But it's one of those you can see he's dealing with challenges. I'm not saying that he's with us because he's not, but he wasn't fully with them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he was more passive in the situation because
Very passive because of his secret,
His
because of
own
his secret.
his own little
yeah,
situations.
absolutely,
Right,
absolutely,
right. And so he knew, like to me, it felt like he knew in the back of his head what's going on is wrong because if I was to be open about my lifestyle, I would be in the same situation as them.
yeah,
You know what I mean? At the same time, because of who I am and my background and the neighborhood that I'm a part of, birds together, basically. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Sometimes you guilty by association. And
hmm,
your association card is your skin color,
yeah,
you know. So it was interesting that that's like a spin to the whole show in general, is that the different storylines outside of the main. Because even to me, like Drake has said before, this is to me is more of a drama than a horror, which is crazy is that we focused on more of the racism than the horror. You know what I mean? Because if you take the racism out of this movie, there was a couple of parts that I probably would have jumped on or I would have paid more attention to. But because we were so triggered by the events that was going on towards them, it's like the horror was just ad libs at that point. You know what I mean? So
Mm, okay. I can see because what I looked at it as, I think because the first three episodes didn't have as much horror, I didn't realize what I was watching, and because I watched it as a horror for the first three episodes,
mhm,
and then as the toward the end of episode three, I started to see some of the horror and leaned into that and saw the racism as a backdrop because there were so many threads, like you said, that were being pulled and storylines that were being followed.
mhm,
So,
mhm,
you're this guy who has another lifestyle,
mhm.
is married to a woman who wants to maintain control because her dad and the other dads were
Nasty,
huh.
nasty.
I wasn't gonna say nasty. I was gonna say the founders of the neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
And because they founded the neighborhood, they were like, "My dad built this. This is ours." Is that entitlement that makes it? It's not necessarily racism because you can be racist and be over there and leave me alone. But when you feel like you have an entitlement to what I have or to my life, or my life now has no value because of what you feel you're entitled to. For example, they say they act like they have an entitlement to that house. So anything in the house is a plaything to them. That's dangerous.
Mhm,
So I feel like we see how a lot of that pressure plays into the house. One of the other things, and I'll let you go, Drake, about your thoughts on
Betty Boo.
yeah, Betty.
I thought I spoke. Man, I hate Betty. I hate her. Like I really dislike her. Like if we're talking about the character, you never wish for people to die, but these type of people like this personality, I don't wish anything. I pray to God. I hope God protect my spirit and my heart and my thoughts. From me thinking like this, but it's not pleasant. It's just because you mean evil. That's the best way I can put it. And she through and through, she was evil. To my opinion, she was the once again we said it, she was the ringleader. She was the one. Other than the little, the tiny penis guy, that y'all know who I'm talking about. The one the other one talking noise, he was right behind her. But Betty, I I'm glad everything that's coming to her, she deserved it. But if y'all don't mind, I want to share
His
one of
name was
my
his name was Marty Dixon.
Marty. Fuck Marty. Excuse my language, y'all. But this right here, this scene right here, woo, woo, I
Mm.
loved it.
What do you call this?
A start.
Cross too flamboyant?
Sure, I don't know what you mean.
My children had to see that.
Whose fault is that? This place is our home. I think it's important a person knows her place. If it were me, I can't imagine living somewhere I wasn't wanted. All alone.
We're all alone right now. Be over before they make it off their lawns.
Is that a threat?
I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
Bets? Everything okay?
Just fine, sweetie. Just fine.
Why would you live somewhere you're not wanted? Seriously.
Sunshine, jasmine in the air. It's growing on me.
And a family to consider.
See that? You found the answer all by yourself.
I wouldn't want my children growing up.
Good thing you don't have any,
It's amazing.
isn't it?
Find someplace else to live, Mrs. Emery. Because this is as good as it's going to be for you. And it'll never be quite this good again.
You know, the good thing about being neighbors, Mrs. Wendell, she know where to find me. Ooh, make yourself comfortable. Ooh, make yourself comfortable. Ooh.
Once again, good job with the music too.
Mm-hmm.
That was a start. That was like that. I was like, okay, stand your ground, sister. Let it be known. And and once again, it continues shows. Even though once again, she sees everything that's going on with her, but she has other shit that is still affecting her because they don't know her whole story, and that's the whole thing about it. She's still fighting. She's trying to keep it together. But all like this stuff right here, the mammy dolls and the nooses, this is a lot. If y'all woke up tomorrow and saw this in your yard or in front of your complex, like in front of your door, what would be your reaction? You know,
And today,
today.
oh, that's a totally different story. We said tripping. Today,
I'm
back
leaving.
then,
Like, what are
back
you talking
back
about?
Hold
Like,
on,
back
hold
I'm
on, hold on,
then.
hold
leaving.
on. So Leah, you're leaving,
I'm leaving.
and Baylor, you said tripping.
Yeah.
I don't, but
Especially
I don't have a family to consider.
I feel you. I feel you.
I don't have a, you know, it's a hate crime has, because that's essentially a hate crime.
Oh, it is.
There's no way I'm going to be comfortable in staying. Now I may come back with protection, but there's no way that I'm going to stay the night if I woke up to that.
No, that's the wisest thing to do.
That's not what's happening.
Yeah.
I think that the during this grouping of episodes, it's really interesting to see the interactions play out in between the family and their new surroundings, between the daughters and their schoolmates going to school, being in class, the husband and his aggressions at work, with, you know, being whistled at or snapped at across the room, as if he's a child or a dog, and beckoned by the boss to come over, and being condescended to and made to feel like he, yes, the boss, and fetching and stepping, while the manager just kind of toys with him, playing the power card because he knows he can.
yeah.
Oh man. And when the eldest is the eldest daughter is at school, when her demon comes into effect or the illness comes, it's that to be accepted that many young men and women experience. How do I become popular? How do I become like? Why don't people like me? You know, how do I get involved? Looking for a friend around their age, a peer.
Hey, welcome to 2021. Cause they
Hey,
still doing that shit.
Yeah.
straight up. Especially
And
we have social media now. We got people shaving off or tearing off one eyebrow. But I digress. It's to the it's but that's what people do. But even back then, if you didn't have the access to some social media and things, and you just had to be around nothing but white people that disapproved of you just because you're black. Just because you're black. Once again, just because you're black, it could drive your ass insane. It could really push you to the point that, you know, what she was doing is, you know, we'll get into that soon, but That's why some kids may go to the measure of taking their own life. It's really difficult out here, and I
Mhm.
empathize with them. I couldn't. Once again, I've been in it. I've been at predominantly white schools where I try to fight for acceptance, and then I have to end up just fighting. Period. You know, it, it- that's the
Let me
experience.
stop. Let me stop you before you finish. I'm gonna let you
Oh,
finish.
I
But
was finished. That was it.
you wanna know what's crazy is that I had the total opposite experience of you. So where I went to high school
Oh,
were
trust me. We talk.
predominantly black and Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Same.
there was no, I didn't have to fight for anything. We didn't have to. Now, don't get, we've had racial tension amongst the blacks and the Hispanics, but nothing compared to having racial tension with white folks. Because again, the culture that was created inside Southern California was different to where even if we did have racial tension with the Hispanics, we will also join forces with them if there was some type of racial battle with white folks. And we didn't go to school with white kids.
Bailey, you just don't know how often you and I have talked about this though. I talk about you often, you and Noemi. I'll talk about y'all because when I hear y'all experience that y'all didn't come in contact with white people until later into y'all life, like large
No,
scale
no, no,
white.
no. It wasn't that we didn't come in contact with white folks till later on, because we did. We've always been in contact with white folks. We never lived in the same neighborhoods or went to the same schools as them.
That's what I mean. Once again,
So, but we would, but the thing is, we knew once we went to the mall, and because Los Angeles is very diverse, not South Central.
I'm not talking
Inglewood
about
is very
mall
diverse.
when I'm talking about actually when y'all talking about going to school or even in your neighborhoods. Now when y'all go out,
No, but that's but if you ask certain black people, that's from my generation or my the time period I was in middle school or high school. There's certain high schools outside the skirts of South Central where there are white kids that attend school.
yeah, and I believe you,
Public schools.
but I'm talking about on an individual basis. That's what I mean. Because I've since doing the about everything culture on the other podcast, I find it so unique because once again, I talk about my niece. I never forget when I took her to Chuck E. Cheese and her head she was blown. She was legit in the middle of Chuck E. Cheese, like Uncle Brandon, where did all these white people come from? Wow. Like she was like blown away. That I'm like, and I had to call my sister. I'm like, where you be taking her? How she ain't used to this. But once again, she was very around Afrocentric people, a community that she didn't really go out. Everything was in the community. So when I took it, when she came to my hometown, when I was still in high school at the time, and I took her to the hometown Chuck E. Cheese, she saw a large amount of white people, and she was thrilled. And not saying that y'all like a throw, but within the school system, there's a situation that these kids are dealing with. I dealt with that. That
Right.
being laughed at for being like man, I got into a fight with a dude, a boy for calling me a nigga, white boy. The fucking police took his side. The police, like you shouldn't let words hurt you. That's what I would never forget that a day in my life. You shouldn't let words
Yeah.
bother you.
We wouldn't. I don't. I wouldn't
This
know.
I'm a kid.
I
I'm in the
wouldn't.
sixth
I would.
grade, bruh. You feel me?
I wouldn't know that experience, but even what I'm trying to say is even with the high schools that did have whites and blacks that attended the same school, there was still no racial tension because we blue. You know what
Fam,
I mean? So it's
look up
different.
the history of Robert E. Lee and John Tyler in Tyler, Texas, man. I do like it used to be race wars. They used to run out. I didn't even know until they used to run out on the field with the Confederate flag for when they scored a touchdown when they played the black school. That was the flag they ran out with. And that's
Mm.
why when you hear about these people that we fighting to change the names of these schools and shit, this is why it's the history because of the racism you have. So what these little girls dealing with right here, that once again with this series, it hits hard for me because I feel it. They did a good job putting that feeling together. But I feel it. You feel me? When not only your peers, but your teachers, the faculty, the faculty is against your well being too, and your parents gonna have to do. And once again, my aunt used man. This is when my mom and my grandma and grandpa used to tell me you cannot hang. Even though I was, you cannot do the same thing your white friends do. That was told to me at a very young age. Very young age. I I said it all the time, man. You cannot play the way they play. You can't talk the way they talk. Y'all can be cool, and I'm not saying, but you gotta be strong. You gotta be better, and you gotta be more cautious. Simple as that. So it was like you're trained at a young age, and that talk that he had with his daughters before leaving that house, that's not normal, but that's normal to us. Same thing we're dealing with right now. So and I find it, and I'm not lying. I just find it like beautiful and unique that, man, what if I didn't ever have to experience that a day in my life? You know what I mean? That, man, not only having a white boy, but like you see these teachers doing these all microaggressions, especially right now with social media, they feeling confident, and now it's being recorded. That's been happening, been happening. Ain't nothing new. It's just now it's being recorded. Will Smith said recently, man, racism has been here. Y'all, it's on camera now. It's on social media. You just see it more. But it's been here. So that's why I say with this film, with this series, once again, it's extremely triggering. Extremely triggering, man. And they do a good job of it. From the little girl to the high schooler. Like, and having white friends. And you look up, man. I wish I could bring on like some more people that talk about how you had some white friends in high school or in middle school you grew up with, and now all this stuff is happening, and now you like, damn, that's how you really feel about us. Well, Leah, you different. Bailey, you different. And I used to know the fuck I'm not. I am
I
not
heard
different.
that. Yeah.
I am not different. Don't ever get it twisted. I am not different. That is me. I don't give a fuck what's happening. That's me right there,
Oh, that would never be you. What do you
man.
mean that would never be me?
And but once again, unfortunately, you want that acceptance. It's just, it's human nature until you get around people that look like you, that really accepts you. That's what it's like. And it's not every time. It may not be the ones that look like you sometime, it could be the white people that accept you. You may put some things aside to be accepted by them. And that's what, once again, we get to the episode in a second, but it's
What I
deep.
wanted to talk about was the father was told in the elevator that there was a meeting that or business meeting that was going to be boring and that he didn't have to be there. So the manager was just like, "Oh, take the half day."
Smart.
And he decides to show up anyway to introduce himself to the head person, to the director, and the director was not made aware that they hired a black engineer.
Right.
But that's when also the tap dance man, the father's demon, was made present, like made actually known. What were your thoughts, Baylor, during that episode, during that part of the episode?
Yo, that shit came out of nowhere. First of all, when I seen him up there on stage, I said, "What the hell is going?" Then I thought about it, I was like, "Yo, he the only one that is he the only one that can see this shit? Like nobody else sees it?" Because I thought that was a real performer.
Right. I think they hired I was like, okay, they have the black musicians. Did they really get
Exact.
initial Wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly. But then by the time you finish everything, you realize like, yo, he was dealing with this a lot, and he was dealing with it in situations where, like, just wait. So I'm not sure which episode that was where he just gave in, and that was when he was in the neighborhood. Remember, he was in the neighborhood
Oh yeah, when
And when he
he
was in the car?
I know
on
what
the
you
side
mean.
on
Yeah.
on the sidewalk.
When he was in the
Mm-hmm.
sidewalk, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Because he was
and
like, "You're not gonna do it. You're
That
not gonna
that
do it."
yeah,
antagonizing.
yeah, yeah, and lo and behold, he just
It
couldn't
had to
take
be
it.
episode 5.
He just couldn't take it no more.
But if you notice, the interesting thing about the demons and their characters that they're facing with is that even if you watch the tap dance man and the father started acknowledging the tap dance man, started communicating with the tap dance man, then
Uh-huh.
started imitating the tap dance man. Because even if you look at their conversation when they're talking in the diner, they
Yeah.
started mimicking each other's movements.
Hmm. I'm, that's crazy. You picked up on that. I thought I was tripping.
No, I love that. And that's why I knew what was up right there. But going back to what I was saying in the previous episode, it take you there. And that's why I knew it was in him. But man, they do such a great job. Once again, such a great job with that because if you don't have if you never had a person in your life, I would say a friend, but a person that's been in your life that does this, congratulations. It's beautiful. But if you never had an instigator in your life that just was never, I've had people like that that I thankfully I've ruled out and I had to cut them off. But just, I mean, that like legit the tap dancing man, you know. But once again, and a lot of things I can say here, I'm gonna pull it right back to myself because that's gonna say it's hard for me to watch it because I take it so much within myself within this show, this series. But that you won't do it, bust them, the fingers is wild.
Well, what about I want to say the episode 6 where the daughter um was trying to basically what we were seeing was her daughter wants obviously wants to be accepted. She wants to be a cheerleader.
Oh yeah, that
Uh
was toward the end of episode 6. Do you have that episode?
I can pull it up.
Yeah,
Show
it was
game.
toward the end of that was wild. What were you
yeah.
gonna say, Baylor?
No, just that was what you just said. Like the fact
Very
that
much.
um
I
you
couldn't.
see
I
you
couldn't
see,
remember that was 6 or what.
are you talking about that was surrounding her?
Oh, I'm checking now. Oh, in the episode. Okay, no. I know what you're talking about. The other part, the sidewalk, is in episode 6 too. Oh, there's a lot of good stuff in episode 6. I'm just scrolling through right now. Woo, a lot.
Episode 6, when things started to come to a head, and there was a lot going on. Uh the baby girl was in school,
Cat in the bag.
not being able to say the pledge of allegiance all the way through. The father was demoted and wanted to take revenge, and then the girl was in this scene. I'm gonna be honest, it was like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I did not watch this scene all the way through because after I saw them people, I was like, yeah. So we're just gonna we're just gonna fast forward through this part real quick.
Yeah, that scene was crazy right
Yeah,
there.
you can go ahead and play.
Some no weak his ass cheering.
All down the line. When the sun goes down and the moon comes up, our boys will shine. Our boys will shine tonight. Our boys will shine. Our boys will shine tonight. All down the line. When the sun goes down and the moon comes up,
I may be
our boys
racially
will shine.
blind, but I thought they
Our
were all the
boys will
same
shine
girl.
tonight.
I'm gonna be
Our
honest with
boys
you.
will shine. Our boys will shine tonight. All down the line. When the sun goes down and the moon comes up, our boys will shine. Our boys will shine tonight. Our boys will shine. Our boys
See this camera work right here? Mm. Welcome to the upside down. It is the same girl.
It wasn't initially. Crazy.
That part killed me right there.
Can we keep playing this? Like,
You like this part.
I couldn't tell if he was sober or drunk on rage.
man, but you see that the juices and berries at the top, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
Hey, did you see it though?
That's that blue magic shit.
You did. That's that Murray's. If
Yeah.
that when you buy a fresh little new tin of Murray's.
Hey, Murray's was so thick that I used to have to rub it and then put my hand over the pilots, soften it up, and then
Yeah, so
for
it's just oil instead of thick,
real. Yeah,
thick.
for real.
I only use Murray's wax just a little bit. I used to. I don't use it anymore. It's too thick.
We didn't really use Murray's in our house, so we use Sporting Way.
Sporting Waves smell like deodorant.
Hey, this shit smack though. Whew,
Mur-
got me rubbing my head again when I had them boys swimming.
Murray,
God, I do not regret being bald, but man, for whatever reason, I'm just like, dang,
Murray smell like a damp fruitcake.
Excuse me. I said, excuse me.
that slump in his
Can I
back
help
right
you?
there showed me he was about to do something wild.
Boy, what are you doing around here?
Minding my damn business.
Look at me when I'm talking to you.
That's when you know he's gonna get fucked up right there with me.
Sorry, sir. Must have got lost.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I wonder how heavy those cars were.
You see how different that neighborhood looks compared to the one that he stays in?
Mm-hmm.
And how heavy them cars
Look at
look.
that root beer. Ooh, that root beer color. Yes.
Wow. Fresh myself up. Oh, bitch ass. Like,
Walk away real quick. Oh, I fell asleep in his hat.
You need me to carry you?
One thing we know is
Big
that
girls
she
can
gonna
walk
walk in
fast.
those hills.
Not as big as you, though.
she's so
That's
sweet.
that's talent.
This episode had the girl seeing Miss Vera at school, the father being demoted and seeing the tap dance man for standing up for introducing himself to the director. The daughter, ha- whew, the daughter trying out for a cheer squad. Like she didn't ask any questions.
I,
Why
I,
are
I,
we in a basement?
I'm gonna say this because and I think this is why the older daughter her issue stood out to me because um all right, so my little daughter, we buy her, she likes Barbies, right?
Mm-hmm.
um and recently Disney started to mix the gumbo up a little bit, started to add some flavor to it, you know what I mean,
You
with
have a
some
way
with
with
some
words, sir.
with some characters, right?
Right, right.
um and sometimes, and I got my wife's back on this too. We'll go somewhere and we'll see, like, cups, for my daughter that have these characters on them.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing my wife says, she's like, "Oh, Bailey would love this." And then sometimes she will hesitate on getting it because she wants to look for a version that's in black.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that this young girl just she battled with not just her looks, but what she thought she needed to look like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that this took place at that time, and you fast forward, and my wife is trying to look for a black version of this Barbie or the character on this cup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
That makes it hard. And it makes it hard, especially now we have, like, I like that we have like this renaissance of the acceptance of black hair, of melanated skin. I mean, we still have bleaching creams, we still have straighteners, we still have all these things, but I like that there is a newness of acceptance, especially amongst the babies, where parents are being more conscious, like your wife, of, let me see if they have it in black. Let me see if there is a character that's reflective of what my daughter looks like, so that she sees herself not as the help, not as the maid, not as insignificant, but sees herself in that winning spot. Whereas before, it's like, well, we didn't, growing up, we didn't see ourselves really doing anything heroic or doing anything great or doing anything that's worth mentioning, other than being like a side character or the comedy relief or whatever,
Uh-huh.
you know? But I think that that's a struggle that a lot of parents have. Because my sister talks to me about that all the time, of just like, my niece, today's May. Nope. She'll be, it's 2000. Yeah, so she'll be 7. And and the last like 2 years or so, or not, yeah, so the last 2 years, she's been really going through a lot with her hair, because just like Bailey, she has a lot of hair. And it's like, well, I want my hair straight, because she watched Liv and Maddie, she watches Jesse, she watches all these other shows where it's white girls and they can wear their hair straight and it looks fine because it's straight. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, 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 no. You, that's not, your hair don't do that like that. This is not how your hair looks. It's not how it's gonna be. It's not gonna be right.
Right. And
So
then
putting characters in front of her that, that may look like Moana or look like Tiana or look like characters that have afros or ponytails that are represent, or locks, even hair love. Having more inclusive characters that represent what their hair looks like.
I mean, um prior to I don't think I will say this too. I don't think we've never had the conversation with our kids when it comes to Halloween, and I feel like y'all know where I'm going with this. Like, if my son dresses up as Iron Man, we don't think nothing of it. Like, yo,
Yeah.
he's dressing up as Iron Man. But let's reverse it though. And do you think it crosses a parent's mind if their white child wants to be Black Panther?
That's a
If
good person.
would a white parent consider that?
No, 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 not even consider. What do you think? Does something go through their head knowing? Because when Black Panther came out, we all supported it
Yeah.
beyond. You know what I
So
mean?
There were a lot of
so
white kids who wanted to come and be T'Challa, like
yeah, and
Yes,
that's
a
why I
also
said
lot.
Black
I
Panther.
wouldn't knock that. I'd
Yeah,
be
Yeah.
cool because that's showing our hell, that's what they do anyway, first and foremost. But I look at it as a sign of respect. That's me because T'Challa is a comic book character. We dress up as Superman. We dress up as Spider Man, even though we have black variations
We
of it.
did not dress up as Superman. We got a towel and paper clipped it like
I didn't want
together.
to be no damn
and
Superman.
put on some underwear. We put on some
We
underwear.
dress as black. I mean Batman. Like, but all
We
in
got a
all,
clothespin.
but that's something I don't know if people think about it, but I'm not gonna be on no social media, this white boy dressing up as Black Panther to Charlie. You know, I ain't about to do that because I'm gonna follow the same category as these racist white folks. You know, but same thing where the thought process when I know people was mad about having a black Spider-Man, you know, with Miles Morales. And some people make jokes about what if they made a white Shaft? Okay, make a white Shaft. That's a fictional character. I ain't gonna care. Oh, you know what I mean? You know, if that's something
And
you
that's
want
as far as they can go because they know it's not gonna hit.
to,
You're not
Yeah,
gonna
you
because
hit.
feel me?
the things that Shaq is able to do, a lot of what he's able to do is because he's black. The
And he's cool.
neighborhoods that he's
He
able to go
cool.
in,
Right.
And
like
he's
it's
cool.
because he's black. He's able to do those things.
If they would make a white Shaft, who would you want the white Shaft to be? Who you want to play as him?
Will Ferrell.
Thank you. Thank you. You my dog. You my dog. Cause I was like, I need somebody to say Will Ferrell here. That's what we're gonna to see. Cause I said only person I could see being a white Shaft is Will Ferrell. That's it.
It is absolutely going to be a comedy. It's going to go from a drama to a comedy,
Dude, I would be
real quick.
when I tell you take my money, I would see that in a heartbeat. I've seen all the
Yeah,
Shafts.
let me. I'm, I'm gonna tell the community now. I'm tell the black delegation now. Will Ferrell was never invited to the barbecue. He was already there,
Hey,
and
my
we said he could stay.
and he was legit just like I'm here.
Yeah.
Like he just like I'm
Ah,
here. I'm
but
glad you
that's.
said barbecue and not cookout. But go ahead.
Do y'all have any final thoughts before we wrap up about episodes 4 through 6?
Oof.
Because I mean,
Well,
there was a lot that happened, a lot that took place.
Okay.
I think you
Okay.
said it. I think you said it best in a nutshell. Is that everything came to an head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now this is just after six. It's like it's time to wrap this up. What is this gonna look like? You know what I
And
mean?
just quickly, they talked a lot about Betty's backstory. Do we give a fuck about Betty? Do we want to share that with our people?
No, but I think
Okay,
that
cool.
I think that episode was important for many reasons. One of the reasons why you said hurt people, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the crazy part is, I thought it was very important that they showed that background of her life because, as ugly and nasty as she was to this black family,
Her family's worse.
is crazy. Is and it was her own people,
Yeah. It just
Here's
continued to
what I
show
think
how evil
about.
and to get
and the downfall of her
so
life,
and I'm
her
gonna
own
get
people.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell the people what's happening. So episode 6, it showed Betty was trying to get money from her father. Has not been in touch with her father in some time. And her father seemed like she's back. He was happy to see her because once again she's trying to get money to move out the neighborhood, you know. To sell the house, get a new house, whatever the case may be. She can go to daddy, big money, big dollars, got a big ass house, whatever. Woo, woo, woo. I'm assuming that was her mother or stepmother or something, but she was a bitch.
It was her. It was a mother figure,
Okay, yeah,
whether it was step or her real
actual
mom.
biological. But
Yeah,
either way, come to find out, seemed like Betty been getting molested by her daddy, and
which
to
is one
get
of the reasons why she
Not
didn't
just
get pregnant.
molested, because
well,
that whole
she
that
was I will get fucked by daddy. I don't know how to say it, but and that's the only way. Like she asked for money, and he was like, "Okay, I give you the money. How about you go upstairs
after
and
I
take a
give you this
shower?"
bath, and it's like,
And it was
Yeah,
something
bad.
the
but
mom.
it made sense. It made sense why she was so like uncomfortably rigid sitting in
Hmm.
the living room talking to her,
It
and
does.
why the mother figure was so pissed with her.
Mhm.
Because if the dad was so engulfed in who she was and missed her so much and wanted to be with her, and denied the mother any affection or whatever because he wanted to be with his daughter, and then the mother in turn was pissy with the daughter because of that, then that family dynamic makes sense. It's not right, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
But this is what was interesting about it. You say hurt people. This woman went through hell to try to make somebody else's life a living hell. She talked with the milkman. The milkman
Man, I
said,
was gonna
"Hey,
say that too.
if you ever need something, just help me. Just let me know, and I can help you." Okay, great. She goes to her bank account, finds out that her husband has squandered a majority of the money. Then she has to go to her father. Her father is like, "Yeah, I'll help you, but let me give you this bath first." And she gets to the point of taking her shoes off, about to let this happen before she snaps back to reality to say that she doesn't want to do
Ooh.
this.
That is if I
I've never
can.
hated anybody that much in my life.
What did Papa used to say? Um, I can't stand this shit no more. Like that's all I can stand. I can't stand this shit. If that was if I if all I could
I can't take it no more.
it was a
I know.
person, it would be Betty. Betty said once she seen that second towel, hear what I'm saying, listeners.
Were they taking a bath together?
Come on now.
Listen, he went to go. He's rolling up his sleeves.
Hold on.
He sat in the
My uncle,
water.
my
I
uncle
can't
Shannon's face.
I cannot wait till we get to the last episode so I could just her own people. That's all I'm gonna say. Her own people.
Listen, but she went through all of these steps to first she wanted them out, then because she saw her other people, because it was some of the other neighbor ladies, they came together for their Tupperware party and decided that they were going to talk at the meeting, but the other ladies are like, well, we're going to go ahead and move out, and she wanted to do the same, but she couldn't because her husband took a majority of the money. So it was back to Daddy Warbucks to
Yep.
see if she can get money from him. So um her subplot is, we'll see what happens at the end. What I say is justified. It's what I will say is that it's interesting uh how bad she wants to hurt
Mhm.
these people or make these people pay or make or get out or whatever. Like she is desperate.
It's the whole bully syndrome.
Yeah,
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
she's
mean?
oh,
And to me,
she's desperate.
and to me, this is the second best storyline in the series. I think it's one of the best. I ain't gonna say the best, but I think it's one of the
It's a
most.
solid storyline.
I want to say this one of the most important storylines of the series.
Yeah, I can agree. Drake, you got anything?
I'm not gonna say nothing.
Okay. All right. Thank y'all so much for watching another episode of Black Horror Humor. I'm your host, Leah, joined by Drake and Baylor. Be sure to follow us on social media. We're on Twitter at BHH Podcast and on Instagram at Black Horror Humor. Also follow us on YouTube and wherever podcasts can be found. That's where we are. Please be sure to tune in next week to episode 3, where we wrap up and give our final thoughts about episode 7, 8, 9, and 10 of them. And if you haven't already, check it out. But if you don't want to watch it, I don't blame you.
Tell
Don't watch
somebody
it.
else to
Just
watch
just
it.
watch just watch us watch this.
Yeah,
And
watch
you'll
us
get it.
watch it.
Yes, that's it. You'll get it. It's okay. But yeah, y'all be safe. Keep them lights on, and we'll talk to y'all later.
Peace.